New tonight, a local nonprofit is shedding light on the need for more domestic violence services as the number of survivors they serve continues to increase. Now, Oklahoma ranks the highest in the nation when it comes to domestic violence. Fox 23 weekend anchor Morgan Martin spoke to that nonprofit on the reason behind this horrible trend.
Leslie Klingenpeel helps survivors of domestic violence every day. More than half of women and almost half of men in Oklahoma will experience domestic violence or stalking in their lifetime.
Trends are across the board for domestic violence increasing and not going in the right direction here in the state of Oklahoma.
Leslie's the CEO of The Spring, a shelter in Green Country that helps survivors of abuse and human trafficking. She says the demand for services is growing and The Spring is trying its best to keep up.
We could have 10 more shelters and it wouldn't be enough beds.
The Spring provides everything survivors and their kids need, like housing, mental health counseling, and legal advice.
We are seeing a major increase in domestic violence since COVID, really, here in Oklahoma, rising to #1 in the nation for incidences. Of course, not a rank we want to hold, but just the reality of what we're seeing.
The most recent Domestic Violence Fatality Review Board shows 122 domestic violence-related homicides in 2023, the highest number on record in Oklahoma. That's also the 5th consecutive year with 100 or more deaths. Leslie says it's important for The Spring to continue to get better at identifying victims of domestic violence and human trafficking before it's too late.
We are starting to see a lot more victims understand that they are being victimized and that there are people that want to help them. And we're seeing a lot of agencies want to jump on board to really help and to step into that gap.
Leslie says law enforcement agencies across the state are referring more victims. She says the nonprofit also works in the field with the Tulsa Police Department's Human Trafficking Vice Unit. Before the collaboration, Leslie says 10% of victims referred by officers would accept services. Now that The Spring goes with officers, the percentage has increased to 55%. And Leslie says in just 3 years, the average stay for a human trafficking victim has grown from just a few weeks to almost 2 months.
Which shows us that the recidivism is decreasing and they are engaging in services at a higher rate than they ever have before with us.
She says The Spring is one of only 5 agencies in the state certified by the Oklahoma Attorney General's office to provide services to victims of domestic violence, human trafficking, sexual assault, and stalking.
What we're having to do is just get really creative with our services and how we meet survivors where they're at to provide and meet a need for them. So we may not be able to bring them into our shelter, but what can we do for them in the interim? How do we connect them with safe partners that can help them?
A challenge Leslie and her staff face daily, but embrace.
It does put a strain on our resources, right? But I also would say it motivates our staff to want to do even more, to serve even more, and to figure out whatever we have to do to make it happen.
Covering news that matters, Morgan Martin, Fox 23 News.
You can find more information on the Springs as well as resources for domestic violence on this story on fox23.com. There is a national hotline for domestic violence. That number is right there on your screen, 1-800-799-7233.